All right, here we are at the end of the season. We got the Super Bowl. We got the Eagles versus the Chiefs. Before I get started, I'm looking for subscribers. So if you don't mind, I'd love it if you liked or subscribed and drop me a note. Let's go ahead and get into this. So KC is favored by 1.5. I reluctantly am going to take Kansas City. I say reluctantly because it just seems like that that they've gotten every break this year. But they've also played phenomenal situational football. And that's what we're going to go through with the numbers. So you're probably looking at my numbers here saying, why am I taking the Chiefs when the simulation clearly says that Philly should win? So just straight by the numbers, uh, of the 100 sample games, Philly won 76 of them. That translates to an 8.5 point spread. And then you just look at the raw numbers, shows Philly putting up 24 points to the Chiefs 13. So, and then when you come over here to the right, you look at it and say, Philly is stacked on offense, rush, pass, defense, rush, pass, so on and so forth. And then you come over here and you say, yeah, and you kind of have a poor KC offense. What I'm going with here is the Bayesian adjustment. So when you see the Bayesian adjustment, what that's looking at is saying, hey, how accurate has the model been with these two teams? The fact of the matter is this is common with a lot of run-heavy teams, is it has overemphasized the value of the running game when it comes to how many points are going to score. Okay, and that's just a function that I think I need to work on the model a little bit. Meanwhile, the model has somewhat underestimated, although over the course of the season, being off by only 17 points in the point differential for KC isn't all that bad. So basically, what it's saying is it's overestimating Philadelphia's scoring performance by quite a bit, and it's underestimating a little bit Kansas City. And the big thing you have to look at is when you look at the Kansas City defense, they are aggressive, they are very deceptive, and they're quite good at really throwing off everything with almost every team that they've played this year. And that's the reason why when you look at their scoring, they're not winning off of a high-flying offense. Kansas City is winning off of a fantastic defense that gets the opponent's quarterback off the field, and then they put the ball in the best quarterback's hands, who's not making big plays, but he's making plays to convert third and fourth down conversions very, very consistently because he's got certain number. He's got the ability to run, and he's so good at reading the blitzes and being able to put the ball in the right guy's hands at the right time for just enough yards. So let's go ahead and get into what those numbers are. So like I said before, the strength of Philly is that they've got Saquon Barkley. They've got a phenomenal running game. We saw that in the first play against Washington. Saquon ran like 70 yards for a touchdown. But the other thing I'll point out, the Philly offensive line is banged up. They certainly still wore down the Washington defensive line and defense overall. But I think that is as much of an indictment on the Washington offense that really struggled to consistently keep the pressure on and keep the ball out of Saquon's hands. So, and that's really where I think KC does really good at, is that situational football, which does not show up in these numbers as we see by a pretty big disparity. Say, hey, they're going to put up probably 100 yards of rushing. I would also point out Mahomes, as it shows, Mahomes has the ability to absolutely air it out when he has to. That's a big thing that I take when I look at Mahomes play. That dude can do anything and everything that is required to win. That means making 6 to 12 yard passes, marching the ball down the field. He will do that. That means that they're going to give him 25 yard passes to hit an open guy on the fade route. He'll do that too. That means that they're going to open up passing or a running lane for him to run the ball 6 yards to get a first down. He can absolutely do that. That's what just makes it, and it doesn't show up in the numbers per se, or at least not in the raw numbers. As it shows up in the winning numbers and point differentials. So then when we come over here to the right, and we look at KC, a couple really core stats. He's not getting sacked a lot. You see some of the propensity for some of these interceptions. A lot of that showing that he might throw some of those interceptions. The fact that Philly secondary is really good. So this is a matchup um, in that case as well. Both teams, um, not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of fumbles in that regard, but just notice not a lot of deep plays. So what they're doing is they're taking uh, the shorter plays and getting lots of first downs. Meanwhile, yeah, Kansas City defense is going to have to absolutely keep a lid on Saquon Barkley. A lot of those big plays are coming from Saquon. Obviously, Jalen is getting the ball out there as well. But let's be honest, I don't think that those big plays happen if you don't have the runner in Saquon Barkley. So the thing I would point out is we see a lot of these sacks. Well, I tell you what, Kansas City is going to put on a very complex, well disguised defense. That's going to make it hard on the offensive line. That offensive line, as we saw, they struggled to pick up the blitz. The Philly offensive line struggled to pick up the blitz. We'll see what their injury situation's like, so that could change. But you still have a quarterback who I don't think is all that great at picking up the blitz against a defense that is probably the best at executing that mixed 4-3-3-4 blitz heavy and multiple types of blitz type of aggressive defense that can really put them in a bind. The thing I would say is Saquon Barkley is a running back, generational running back. He can hit the hole hard. He can cut back. He's got jets where if he gets around the outside corner, he can explode. Not many running backs have all of those tools in their tool bag to be able to do that. So that's going to be a challenge. But at the same time, I think that defense has been consistent all year long, and is going to make it that much harder for the the skilled players on Philly, and that much harder on the line as well. So with that, I think it will be a relatively low scoring Super Bowl, just because I think that the KC defense is going to keep the Philly offense in check, and I think that Kansas City is going to continue what they've been doing, play situational football and score based upon whatever that defense is giving them. So anyhow, if you got questions or comments, don't like what I'm saying, drop me a note. Like to hear from you. Thank you.